Senate Republican leaders and White House officials are confident that they will be able to confirm Gina Haspel to lead the Central Intelligence Agency by the end of the month, barring an explosive revelation at her confirmation hearing this week. West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin is considered highly likely to support her, said a senior administration official. The moderate Democrat up for re-election this year posed for a photo alongside Haspel after a private meeting on Monday and said he appreciated so much Gina coming and speaking with me. Story continued below, and Republicans believe they can get a handful of other Democrats to push Haspel across the finish line to get the 50 votes needed to confirm her. Gina Haspel will be voted out of the Intelligence Committee on a bipartisan basis, and she will be confirmed by the full Senate on a bipartisan basis. "I hope that will happen before Memorial Day, so she can get down to the serious business at hand," said Sen. Tom Cotton, RR, who is on the Intelligence Committee and is playing a key role in pushing her nomination. By signing up, you agree to receive email newsletters or alerts from Politico. You can unsubscribe at any time. Haspel will face tough questions, particularly from liberal Democrats, over her role in overseeing the use of harsh interrogation techniques such as waterboarding, and the destruction of videotapes documenting it, under the George W. Bush administration. Democrats have also criticized CIA, where Haspel now has power to declassify information as acting director, for declining to publicly disclose more material about that controversial period of her career. But the GOP is increasingly certain it can avoid a repeat of last month's Ronnie Jackson debacle, when the Veterans Affairs nominee withdrew his nomination amid allegations of misconduct as White House physician. Most Senate Democrats are expected to oppose Haspel, and Senator Rand Paul, of Kentucky, is vowing to vote against her too. Republicans are betting that at least 3 red state Democrats up for re-election this year will help her clinch confirmation. She'll have a few Democrats vote for her. "It won't be an overwhelming vote, none of these are anymore," said Sen. Roy Blunt, RMO, a member of GOP leadership who sits on the Senate Intelligence Committee. "Some Democrats will have a hard time not supporting the most prepared person ever to be nominated for this job. Republicans are speaking far more confidently about Haspel than they were Jackson, who withdrew after 4 days of brutal news coverage and growing bipartisan unease. "I feel very good about it," said Senate Majority Whip John Cornyn, R. Texas, who laughed when asked to compare Haspel's fate to Jackson's. "I think we know a lot more about her than Drive. Jackson." Haspel offered to withdraw her nomination over the weekend in order to protect the CIA's reputation, not because she can't be confirmed, Republicans said Monday. Still, that report from the Washington Post, and Jackson's downfall show how volatile the confirmation process can be in a Senate controlled with a 51-vote GOP majority in Sen. John McCain's continued absence. The Trump administration is likening Haspel's nomination to Secretary of State Mike Pompeo's, briefly threatened by a Democratic blockade but which ultimately received sufficient backing from a coalition of Republicans and moderate Democrats. "Better than 50-50, said a White House official. "We think it's going to look a lot like Pompeo's." Yet Haspel still has work to do to get centrist Democratic caucus members like Heidi Heitkamp of North Dakota and Angus King of Maine on board. Other Democrats who are considered gettable for Haspel include Intelligence Committee ranking member Mark Warner of Virginia, Doug Jones of Alabama, Claire McCaskill of Missouri, Joe Donnelly of Indiana and Sen. Bill Nelson of Florida, who said Monday he is considering whether to vote for her. 10 Democratic senators are up for re-election in Trump-won states, and Republicans believe several of them will break for Haspel given the poor optics of a vote against her in states where the president is popular. But officially, no Democrats have come out in support of Haspel's nomination, many of them reasoning that there is no need to take a position before she has even cleared the Intelligence Committee. Many Democrats withheld support for Pompeo until Paul flipped his vote and made his confirmation inevitable, though Republicans don't expect Paul to back down on Haspel. Senate Intelligence Committee Chairman Richard Burr, RNC, on Monday said he expects a committee vote soon after Wednesday's hearing and defended the CIA's decision to declassify a limited amount of information about Haspel's background while providing further documents for senators to view in a classified setting. Certain records can't be declassified just because of the nature of the CIA, Burr told reporters. I think they've declassified what they can. Several Republicans are also publicly undecided, including Utah Sen. Mike Lee, a skeptical Republican with libertarian leanings, Senator Jeff Flake of Arizona and moderate Maine Senator Susan Collins. Collins said Monday that she has reviewed part of the record the CIA has made available and declined to indicate whether what she has seen had influenced her perspective. And Warner broke from Burr on Monday and said the amount of information about Haspel's background that has been declassified was unacceptable. I also am concerned that by failing to declassify much about your work at headquarters, including decisions that could be relevant to the nomination, the agency has opened itself up to the criticism that it is only releasing favorable materials while suppressing related items that could reflect negatively, Warner wrote to Haspel in a letter obtained by Politico. At the heart of the anti-Haspel campaign by liberal and human rights groups is her role in the Bush-era interrogation program, which involved the use of torture on detained terrorist suspects that Congress later outlawed. Activists are pressuring still undecided senators to oppose Haspel, in part arguing that the spy agency has only released information favorable to her prospects while withholding other, less rosy details. While a 2011 disciplinary memo the CIA released last month found that Haspel acted appropriately with regard to the destruction of tapes showing some harsh interrogation sessions, little is known about whether she approved of the brutal treatment of detainees and how closely she participated in the development of the interrogation program. Haspel critics also have pointed out that, as the agency's current acting director, she holds the power to determine whether more details about her past see the public eye. The Department of Justice did provide Burr and Warner on Monday with a special prosecutor's report underlying a 2010 decision to not charge any CIA official in connection with the tape's destruction, according to a source familiar with the disclosure. And senators are still curious about the backstory to Haspel's offer to withdraw over the weekend, which is certain to come up at her confirmation hearing. I think she's going to have a great answer for you on that one, Manchin said.